Hey guys, it's Caden, and welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have someone who I'm really excited to talk to. He's been the voice of Porky Pig for 30 years now within the Looney Tunes cartoons. He's the current voice of Me TV Tunes, which I personally grew up on. And fun fact, before the fame, he actually competed on Wheel of Fortune and won a watch, apparently. He is Bob Bergen. Thanks
You
for
did
being
your
on the call.
homework. Good for you, man. That was impressive.
Thank you, sir. A lot of people definitely recognize you. It doesn't get bigger than the Looney Tunes, but for those that somehow don't know you, do you mind telling a bit of your story in your own words?
Very quickly, I was a kid who loved cartoons and wanted to do voices for cartoons since I was a kid. I got lucky that my dad took a job in Los Angeles when I was 14, moved the family here, and I made a lot of phone calls. I contacted Mel Blanc. I crashed a recording session. I started studying acting and improv and voiceover. Got my first agent and my first job a week out of high school, and it took me about 5 years. But within 5 years, actually after 5 years, I was able to work as a full time actor. So I've been a full time actor since I was 23.
And as the saying goes, the rest is for written or recorded record.
There you go.
And you have a piece of Looney Tunes history on your desk behind you, yeah, which transitions into my next question. Do you have any experiences interacting with the autism or neurodivergent community that you want to talk about?
They're the greatest fans on the planet. I do a lot of fan conventions, and the people who are on the spectrum are just delightful. They know more about me and my career than I do. They put me on my toes, so to say. But there are a handful of very successful voice actors who are on the spectrum, and it's I don't know if it's more prevalent today because of social media and because of fan conventions and just more awareness. Logic tells you that everybody's on the planet has always been here, but I will tell you that when I go to a fan convention, the joy for all of us, not just me, but the joy for all of us are people on the spectrum who just delight us in their fandom.
It's definitely a joy, and you're absolutely right. There's a lot of voice actors on the spectrum now, many of which who I've had the pleasure of interviewing. One such example, which I saw you did in episode 4, was Amber Jones,
Mm-hmm.
who was a pleasure to chat with. So I absolutely agree. Due to awareness and the age of social media and platforms like this
Right.
one, we're increasing awareness and making autism and voice acting way more prevalent than it was back then, which
Well, I
transitions
also I
into
also think it's more available to people because of technology. When I got into the business, there was no social media, there was no internet. And today, if you've got a smartphone, you've got a studio and you can reach people like you're doing right now, and you can reach people anywhere on the planet um, for free, which is really neat. We're doing a Zoom right now for free, where when I was a kid, a long distance phone call was they charged you by the minute. So it's a very different and very much more convenient world we live in now.
it's definitely convenient. You could definitely argue that back in when voice acting was first becoming popular, there was some innovation. I once read a story that Mel Blanc recorded some of the Flintstones and Looney Tunes cartoons from his hospital bed with the recording equipment within, but the problem is that equipment probably runs you nowadays at least a good 2,500, where Zoom, if you get the pro version now, it's at least $8, which is a very great deal. Which leads to my next question. GN, the entertainment industry is slowly becoming more aware of neurodiversity. What changes would you like to see in animation and voice casting when it comes to inclusion, whether that be in the stories or in the casting itself?
I'm going to be really honest, absolutely nothing, because it's always been inclusive. Since the day I got into this business, nobody has been excluded. So It all boils down to talent. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care what personal issues you've got. If you're really a great voice talent, if you're a brilliant actor, everybody's going to want to work with you, represent you, etc. Nobody says no to anybody today. Actually, they didn't back then either. When I got my first job in 1987, it was incredibly inclusive then. It was just smaller. There were only 3 networks and very few animated features. Today, they've got networks devoted, 24/7 networks devoted to animation. There are primetime cartoons, there are games, anime, web series. There's never been more content. I'm telling you right now, nobody is going to exclude anybody for any reason other than you're not talented, you're not right for the part. So it all boils down to brilliance. If you're a great actor, a great voice actor, everybody's going to want to work with you, no matter who or what you are.
Exactly. That's as simple as it can get. One thing I will add is that there should be consultants if there's a storyline being developed about a neurodivergent character or doing something. There should be consultants on set or in the studio to make sure the studios get it right. Right, but I think you're absolutely right. With animation specifically, I've noticed that the only reason you would be excluded is if you're not a good fit for the part. But even then, they'll most likely try to at least find you a small part or an extra role to make sure you still get to be a part of the production. So that's a really great way to put it. Which leads to my next question for you. Porky Pig is one of the most recognizable animated characters in history. What responsibility do you feel in portraying a character with a speech impediment in a way that is respectful and authentic?
Well, by being respectful and authentic, you nailed it. I've been doing this character for 36 years, and my goal is always to keep the integrity of the original character. The difficult part of that is he's put in situations that he never was in before. Or Mel, I don't have a reference of Mel Blanc playing Porky Pig on a cell phone or as an Uber driver or using the internet or a computer. So, cartoons are situation comedies. Classic cartoons, when they were made, were not classic. They were, a satire of the day with music and language and vernacular of the day. Well, the characters that we're doing today are classic characters put in today's situations. Not all of them. We did a series called The Looney Tunes Show, which was absolutely a situation comedy with the characters in today's world. And then I did Looney Tunes cartoons, which were an homage to the classic cartoons of the 40s and everything in between. All I try to do is keep the integrity of the character and then be available to the direction and the producers and the writers.
And I respect that, especially in today's digital age with the rise of AI. Hi, I'm not instant either, I'll be honest. I like messing around with sort of whenever I'm not doing this. But the problem with some of the AI videos I've been seeing is they get rid of and have no respect for the integrity of a celebrity being portrayed in such a video. I think you know what I'm talking about, right? Where you can type in, say, a Bob Marley on a cell phone playing Minecraft with Mel Blanc playing for relevancy. It can then generate it in an instant.
Yep.
It can be a fun thing to use, but the problem with some of them is they completely destroy the integrity of the celebrity. So I respect what you tried to do.
Well, I can only do what I can do. I can't fight what somebody in their basement with a computer can do. The internet and social media is too vast. What we can do and what we are doing with professional voiceover, which is union, is author contracts with protections and profit sharing. So if studios use our past work with AI to create new work, we have to give permission and we get compensated. What people do in the privacy of their home, we can't control that. It's again, it's too vast, it's too big. So, people have to have values. People have to take responsibility. but I'm not going to worry about what's out of my hands. Bad people are going to do bad things. We can't worry about it.
Exactly. We just have to trust people's instincts with anything in today's world, really. Which leads to my last question for you. What does the future hold for you? Could we see Porky and Coyote versus Acme coming out this year?
You will, but I'm not in it. I didn't work on that film. What's my future? Man, I'm busy. Me TV Tunes, obviously. I'm in Zootopia 2. I'm in Wicked for Good. I've got a couple of animated features that are under NDA that I can't talk about, and I'm writing a memoir. So I'm busy.
That definitely sounds like a good lineup, and we'll be sure to continue following your story. Anyways, that's going to do it for this thing, you guys. Thank you so much to Bob for coming on and sharing his perspective of some things. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my Autism Digest channel. Pick up our latest issue by going to autismdigest.com, and stay tuned for the audio to be posted on our Spotify. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
That's all, folks.